United travelled to Spurs in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, and while the result against City was spectacular, will off-field issues continue to hamper Manchester United's preparation in a game that they really must win? Let's get into the match preview. So welcome back to another match preview, guys, and we go into an away game against Spurs in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. And while the opposition may not have the same rivalry as Manchester City did on the weekend, I think the game probably has just as much importance, to be quite honest with you. I think Ruben Amorim coming in, obviously, as a new manager, new coach, United sitting in 13th in the Premier League, I think it's a big opportunity for him to have a real go at winning a trophy in his first season. And we know United have done well in this competition in the past couple of years under Erik ten Hag. So we're going to jump in and we're going to talk about maybe some of the changes that Ruben Amorim may make in relation to this starting 11 compared to the Man City's 11 on the weekend. Please do smash a like on the video, guys, if you haven't done so already. Do hit that subscribe button as well. We're on the way to 13,000 subscribers. Want to get there before the new year, so if you are new, please do hit that subscribe button. But we're going to jump straight into it, guys, and we're going to be talking about the starting 11. Now, look, I thought it was a very controlled performance by United on the weekend against Manchester City. I thought City never really laid a glove on United, to be quite honest with you. I mean, even the goal that City scored was a bit of a, I won't say a fluke, because you know it was I suppose a set piece off the training ground short. It took a massive deflection, and you know the marking in the box wasn't good enough, it has to be said. However, outside of that, City never really had a clear-cut chance to score from open play against United, and I thought it was a really, really good defensive display. We know United's issues going forward, you know, creating an awful lot. You know, we don't create an awful lot, and I think when the chances do fall, we tend to maybe spurn them a little bit. I mean, United could and should have scored, and with Bruno Fernandes's chance specifically. And, you know, I think we should have had another penalty with Rasmus Højlund as well. So, this was the starting 11, guys, that started against Man City. Now, look, I mean, I do think there are going to be changes to the starting 11. You know, we do know that Ruben Amorim likes to make changes. He wants to keep everybody fit. He also wants to keep everybody maybe on their toes and fighting for spots within the team. So game time is important when that's the case. Sorry, that wasn't the starting team. Casemiro was out and Ugarte was in. That was the starting 11. So, I mean, look, obviously Onana in goal. I don't see Ruben Amorim changing this position, to be quite honest with you. I think it'll be Onana again going into this game. He had a decent game against City on the weekend as well, but again didn't have an awful lot to do, which is credit to how United were set up. The back three was I was massively impressed with the back three against Manchester City. I thought more than anything, I thought we kept our shape really well, and you know, obviously Harry Maguire has come for a lot of criticism throughout the majority of his Manchester United career, but we know, you know, where he shines best is in a back three. He done it with England for so many years when England were playing a back three under Gareth Southgate, and obviously with Ruben Amorim coming in, you know, Maguire can slot into that central role in a back three, and I thought he'd done a fantastic job on Erling Haaland on the weekend. Now, it wasn't just him. I thought Martinez played really well, and De Ligt on that right-hand side. De Ligt is going under the radar an awful lot with some of the performances he's putting in this season. I thought the three of them were absolutely fantastic. Now, when we're talking about, you know, maybe changes to the starting 11 for the game against Spurs, again, it's hard to know, because you're going into a game where, you know, it is a Carabao Cup game, but it's a quarter-final of a cup competition. You know, so do you go full strength, or do you go, you know, maybe a little bit of a tweak? And I think a tweak is probably what's going to happen. I think De Ligt is going to come out, if I'm being completely honest. We see Ruben Amorim take him off a lot because he wants to, you know, obviously look after him. He wants to make sure that he's not picking up any injuries. And I think Yoro is going to come in, if I'm being completely honest with you. Now, there's a couple of different ways this could play out. I wouldn't be surprised with Yoro playing central. Now, if Yoro plays central, it means Maguire comes out as well. And I think Yoro could easily slot into that role with Mazraoui dropping back from wing back and playing in that right side again. I do think this is absolutely an option going into the Spurs game. But I think what's probably most likely is that Maguire keeps his place. he hasn't played an awful lot of game time this season, and he was coming back from an injury, so I think he will potentially play again. But I think Yoro will more than likely come in for De Ligt. Yoro didn't play on the weekend, he did play. Sorry, he came on, but I think this is a game for him to start in that right side of a back three, and I think Maguire and Martinez will keep their positions as back three, and I'm happy with that. I really am. I mean, if you can keep the likes of Erling Haaland quiet within a back three, then, I don't see too much scope for change. But I do think De Ligt will more than likely be rested, and it's a good opportunity to get Yoro in and get another start under his belt for him. But again, I think that back three is absolutely good enough, to keep a team like Spurs at bay. Absolutely. Now, when we're talking about the four across the middle, now obviously we will talk about the wing backs first, and of course, it's an area that I thought was good against Man City on the weekend. I thought Delaw's having a little bit of a season where it's hard to say if he's playing well or not. He's not doing an awful lot wrong, but he's not really standing out either, and I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Mazraoui is playing so well on the other side, or whether, when it's Ahmad playing there who's playing really well. I think Delo on the other side, and we know he's playing the majority of his games on the wrong side, so he's playing on the left as a right footer. But when it comes to the wing backs, again, I think what we will probably see is, I think Mazraoui could potentially get a rest, if I'm being honest with you. I think we will see Delo maybe move over to the right side, and I think Malacia will come in. And again, do I think this is the strongest two wing backs? No, I don't. I think Mazraoui should be in it. But again, we've got to make sure that Mazraoui is not overused. We do know that he's got a checkered past when it comes to injuries playing for Bayern Munich. And the last thing we want to do is overplay him, and then he picks up an injury. He's been up there with our best player this season. So for that reason, I think Malacia will come back in. Malacia hasn't done anything wrong in the games that he's played. And I think we'll see Delo moving over to that side. The two in midfield, obviously Bruno and Ugarte started. I think this is a game for Casemiro to come in. Now, again, I'm going to include the two number 10s in this because unfortunately Mason Mount picked up another knock against Man City. I really feel sorry for Mason Mount, I have to say. I wanted to work for him, and I hope he can get himself fit and get back to playing, because there's a really good footballer there, and the system that he's playing under Amram is a system that he played under Tuchel, where he won the Champions League and he got Player of the Year for Chelsea. So I hope he stays fit. It's a shame, but I think Mount comes out, and I think Bruno will move into the 10. I think Bruno will move up into the 10. Now that means that, does Ugarte play again? Ugarte played an awful lot of minutes, so there is the chance that Ugarte comes out, and I think Casemiro plays regardless. I think Casemiro comes in and plays. I think maybe Ugarte comes out. He ran himself into the ground. Now there is a chance that Bruno stays in the 6, and I wouldn't be surprised about that either. And then you have the likes of Garnacho maybe coming back in alongside Ahmad. I think Ahmad remains. I think he remains. He has to. I thought he was fantastic against City on the weekend. And it's given us them options now where we can use maybe, and I think Bruno being that floater between the 10 and the 6 gives us a lot of options to rest lads, when Bruno can play in both of them positions. I will reiterate what I say about Bruno. I think he is better, more advanced in the 10. I would prefer him to be there. I think defensively his game is not the best, and that's okay. He's an attacking player, so for that reason I would prefer to see him more advanced in the 10. But I think now that I think about it a bit more, I think Bruno probably will play in the 6 alongside Casemiro. I think Garnacho comes in. Now, we've had issues and we've had reports all about, Garnacho and Rashford being dropped, obviously, from the matchday squad. And we know what's happened with Rashford. We'll get into him in a moment. I think the best way for Garnacho specifically and Ruben Amorim is just play him. Just play him, and then it's over. If you play Garnacho in this game, all of the talk about him being dropped for the derby is over. It's done and dusted. And, Ruben Amorim has spoken in his press conference. Wasn't a lot about Garnacho. Of course, it was all about Marcus Rashford. But I think Garnacho now, the story behind him being dropped has gone under the radar a little bit. I think he starts in this game and then it's all gone. It's all done and dusted, and Garnacho can get his head down and start playing again. So yeah, I think Garnacho will potentially start in that role there. Now, when we're talking about the other number 10, like I said, it looks like, I mean, Ahmad has been fantastic, you know, and what a performance the other night. There is the potential for him to come out. And, you know, you could look at Rashford in there. I don't think we'll play Rashford and Garnacho together, to be quite honest with you. Let's talk about Rashford for a moment. Obviously, Ruben Amram has given his press conference only maybe a half an hour ago before I recorded this, and he's been asked about Rashford, saying he needs a new challenge. And Ruben Amram, he's absolutely brilliant in press conferences, I have to say. He says about Rashford, he said, he's right. We have a new challenge here, the biggest in football. We are in a difficult situation, and I hope all my players are ready. I mean, what a professional response that just kills any, you know, media scrutiny around it. And he also goes on to say then as well that United need big talents, and he's a big talent. So he just needs to perform at the highest level. That's my focus. I just want to help Marcus. We are better with Marcus. I will try different things to push Marcus to the best levels he showed in the past. And look, this is something that I mentioned last night on our live, that I think Marcus Rashford will be used by the manager if he doesn't leave in January, you know, and he will be utilised between now and the end of the season. Does that mean he's going to play every game? No, but I think Ruben Amram will find a way to play him in certain games that suit his attributes, and he would be foolish not to do that. Now, Marcus Rashford saying he's ready for a new challenge, does that mean he's going to be a negative person within the dressing room? I don't know, to be honest with you. That's something that we can't really speculate on because we're not in the dressing room. But when it comes to the starting 11, I don't think Rashford will probably start this game, to be honest with you. Now, there are calls maybe for Bruno to be pushed up alongside Garnacho there, and you can bring Manu in. So that is another option there as well. To be honest with you, I think what we will see is we'll see Bruno there, and I think Ahmad will keep his place after the performance on the weekend. Now, the number 9, the striker. Rasmus Højlund comes off against City the other night, and, you know, not because he was playing bad, but he just ran himself into the ground like he always does. It was a really good battle that he put up against Ruben Diaz and the other Manchester City players. He's having a really good season. I'm really happy with him, to be quite honest with you. Now, you know, we mentioned the balance between making changes for this game and keeping the team strong. I think Højlund plays, to be honest with you. I think maybe in the back of Ruben Amram's mind against City the other night, he takes Højlund off with this game in mind, to be honest with you. You know, obviously we know that Joshua Zirkzee can come in, and he's pretty much going to be the backup to Højlund, in my opinion, in the majority of games this season. But I think Højlund playing really well, I would expect him to start again against Spurs, to be quite honest with you. I think he's played well enough to play in this game. So, yeah, I think, and this is what I would like to see more than anything else. But in terms of this starting 11, guys, I think it's absolutely good enough to go and get a result against Spurs. We know Spurs are very hot and cold at the moment, you know, and Spurs like an open game, end to end, and I don't think United will allow them to do that. We've seen against City, United were very structured and were very composed within their shape, and, you know, sat in and slowed the game down at times, and I think we will do that against Spurs on the weekend as well. I don't think we will see a very open game, and I do think that this team absolutely is good enough to go out and get the job done. Like I said, we're looking at the likes of Mazraoui, De Ligt and Ugarte, you know, getting a rest. Look, there can be certain changes there. I think the main one maybe is Kobbie Mainoo. He could potentially come in. You know, if you want to give Ahmad a rest, move Bruno up into the 10 and move Mainoo into the 6. I think that certainly is an option. But we're starting to see options being available for United on the bench, which is a great thing as well. But let me know your predicted 11, guys, in the comment section below, or what changes would you make to this as well. If I'm going with a score prediction, I mean, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, to be honest with you. And the reason for that, you know, you would say, well, we're playing Spurs, and Spurs score a lot of goals at home. But I think United showed against City that they can go away from home, slow the game down, you know, and take their chances when they come. And that's what we're going to have to do. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to United. I think we'll get the job done. I think on the back of a really good result against City and a good performance as well, I think we can go and get the job done. Let me know your score predictions in the comment section below, guys. Please do smash a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel as well. We will be live for the watch along on Thursday as well, so make sure you're tuning in. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified as soon as we go live. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.